This week, since the UFL will be starting up in just a couple days this upcoming weekend, we are going to be providing you with our pre-week one power rankings for the UFL. So without further ado, Rob, our Redzone Rodeo pre-week one power rankings for the UFL. Who do we have at number one?
Well, at number one, we kind of mentioned this before. We both talked about how we think this is right now the best team in the league. It is the St. Louis Battlehawks. It's just really clear that they have talent, at every position, especially at wide receiver and quarterback, which, is probably two of the most, well, definitely the two most important positions in the league right now. They're going to be able to throw the ball all over. They have good supporting guys on offensive line and at running back and on defense. I would be shocked, if they weren't the highest win total team in the league this year with all the guys they've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. At number two, we have the Birmingham Stallions. And we kind of already mentioned this earlier in the show as well, but this is another team that has won back-to-back USFL champions. And they have built a winning culture in Birmingham. A lot of their players are returning. Their head coach and coaching remains consistent. This is a team to definitely watch out for, especially in the USFL conference. This is a team that has every reason to be even in the championship game. We'll certainly see how the season plays out. But for our pre-week one power rankings, we have the Stallions at number two.
Yeah, at number three, we got my favorite team, the Arlington Renegades. They went out there and won the championship in the XFL last year, showing that they have what it takes to go out there and win a championship. They've added some pieces. They added Lindsey Scott, the quarterback. They added some talent at wide receiver. They added some help on defense. The roster, it's not that much different outside of the addition of Lindsey Scott. But like I said, they've added a few pieces here and there to kind of patch up some of the holes they had last year. Really, I think the big difference for the Renegades this year as opposed to last year is that Luis Perez is going to be on the team for the full season instead of being traded for like halfway through the year. So that's going to be a full season of championship pedigree at the most important position on the entire team. And I think you'll see them have a much better record this year, be much more competitive for the entire season than they were most of last year. And I think for the most part, they'll look like a championship team this year, like they didn't really so much last year.
At number four, we have the DC Defenders. Um, we did mention that Abram Smith, unfortunately, will be missing the entire season with an ACL tear. Huge loss for the DC Defenders. But, that is just one position at running back. And Reggie Barlow, their head coach, is very high on some of the guys that they have added to the roster to replace him. Other than really Abram Smith, the DC Defenders still have a powerhouse of an offense led by Jordan Tamu, who will be returning. These guys are going to be scary good on offense, and they also have a really good defense as well. There was a reason they were number one in the XFL in terms of, going into the playoffs, being that number one seed for their division. And I absolutely expect them to be a menace in this upcoming season for the UFL.
Yeah, I just want to say I think any of those four teams at the top of the rankings have a chance to win it all this year for sure. So it'll be exciting to watch.
Yeah.
At number five, we have the Memphis Showboats, and they are quarterbacked by the guy we were just talking about a few segments ago, Case Cookus, as potentially being an MVP candidate. There are some holes on their roster, like we talked about. Their wide receiver room isn't necessarily the greatest. The defense doesn't necessarily have like the best pieces or whatever. But when you have a quarterback who's top three in the league, like Case Cookus, you're in contention in every game because he's a guy who can go out there and make the play to win the game when it matters. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Showboats, at number two in the USFL division this year, and have a real chance in the playoffs against the Stallions for USFL division winner. So yeah, number five, we got the Showboats.
Yeah, and also quick add to Darius Victor in that rushing game. We saw what he was able to do for the New Jersey Generals for back-to-back seasons in the USFL. That guy is scary good at the running game, hard to tackle, thick thighs, save lives as his catchphrase. But this Showboats offense, if it might not be getting great with the air game in terms of passing, the run game is also going to be pretty strong. So get ready to see that as well. At number 6, we have my boys, the Houston Roughnecks. I kind of talked about this earlier in the show. I think that they have some really great components to their roster. I think their defense could easily be number 1 in the league. And I think it's certainly going to help them win a couple games this year. Uh, Not to sound like a one-trick pony, but the thing that just am still worried about is the quarterback position. And the quarterback position for the Houston Roughnecks is still a big question mark for me. And until whoever it is can go out and prove themselves to be that quarterback that can keep up with the Case Cookis, the AJ McCarrons, the Luis Perez, of the league, unfortunately, I think that they lack in that position, and as a result, that could lead to mismanaged plays in terms of the passing game, even though we sport a really good wide receiver room. So at number 6, we have the Houston Roughnecks. I hope that they will go up in our power rankings as we go throughout the season. But as we're sitting with the pre-week 1 power rankings, they are going to be our number 6.
Yeah, they're certainly one of the teams I think has the potential to move up this list based off of how good their defense is probably going to be. Um, the next two teams I don't think really have a lot of potential to move up the list this year. Number 7, we have the Michigan Panthers. I mean, I know we talked about, was it Trey Quinn before? They have, that's like the one guy they have to hang their hat on. Outside of that, you look at the roster, there's not really a ton of talent to talk about. There's not really a lot to get you excited. I just don't think they're going to win a lot of games this year. They have an incomplete team. They don't really have playmakers at the most important positions outside of Trey Quinn at wide receiver. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I expect them to have 1, maybe 2 wins this year at the most.
And likewise with our number 8 spot, we have the final team, the San Antonio Brahmas, who just announced that their starting quarterback is going to be Chase Garbers, I believe, is how you pronounce his name. But this is also a team like the Panthers. I think they have a lot of holes. Of course, they have talent. Any of these teams have talent. But looking at the pre-week 1 power rankings on paper, there's just nothing really to get excited about the team that really struggled last year as well. So obviously they have everything in their power to only go up from here. But as we see it right now, the Brahmas are going to be sitting in our last spot at number 8. Thank you for joining us on the Redzone Rodeo podcast.
If you like football and you like having fun, come on down and subscribe and check out our channel for more videos like this one.
No ifs, ands, or buts. This is the best place for your football news.